Support WrestleTalk!
Thanks for your Patreon support, the Trouble Pimp Angel, Santiago Villanueva. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk SU-SU-SUPERnews. I'm Ollie Davis. We've got a packed show for you today, including how Vince McMahon and Triple H clashed backstage over Raw's sudden NXT call-ups, Vince thinking the Undertaker is joining AEW, and how Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black and Ricochet will be used going forward. Click the timestamps in the video description below to jump to any of those stories right now. Also, press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe to help us climb the hill to 1 mil subscribers, and answer our question of the day down below. How do you think Triple H would change WWE if he took over? Because I'll be replying to people in the comments from out of nowhere. But first, it's time to dive inside the mind of Vince McMahon to figure out what exactly happened on Monday's Raw. This week's episode saw the sudden debuts of 4 of NXT's top stars: former NXT champion Aleister Black, former North American champion Ricochet, and the long-term blood-feuding frenemies Johnny Gargano and holder of the promotion's top title, NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa. Unlike WWE's previous hitting of the panic reset button all the way back in just 2 months ago with December's New Era announcement, where EC3, Lars Sullivan, Heavy Machinery, Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross received weeks and weeks of the same video packages building up to their debuts, and Lars still hasn't even debuted because he's so good at lurking. Monday's call-ups received the complete opposite. A sudden in-ring promo from Triple H at the start of the show, pretty much going, yeah, these guys are here now. It's almost like Vince McMahon woke up one morning, had a bad steak for brunch, and suddenly decided, let's call up all the, hey Trips, what do you call the OVW thing now? It's oh yeah, NXT. I want all the best NXT guys, yeah. Now do that in 7 hours. Well, according to Wrestling Observer Radio, it seems that way because that's pretty much exactly what happened, with a whole mix of reasons leading to Vince randomly shaking up WWE. Firstly, we have the ratings decline. Raw has been on a record low run of TV viewership for the last several months, dropping over 1/5 of its audience from the same period last year. Secondly comes the new promotion All Elite Wrestling, from the B&V Elite guys and funded by the billionaire family. And completely coincidentally, I'm sure, 7 WWE wrestlers have requested their release from the company in the month and a half since AEW was announced. Thirdly, Vince apparently suddenly decided WWE's current product is stale. Still your fault, Baron Corbin. And that the current roster aren't going to be superstars. Fourthly, the superstars they do have aren't around that much, with Brock Lesnar doing Brock Lesnar things, and that Monday's Raw was originally meant to heavily feature Seth Rollins to make Brock believe, but he wasn't cleared by doctors in time for the show. Apparently the back injury Seth's dealing with is expected to be fine soon, but he needs to rest up rather than rush back. But the 5th and final reported reason is one of the more surprising developments in the All Elite Wrestling vs WWE war so far, and possibly the most personal to Vince McMahon. Vince believes his most prized creation, The Undertaker, is now affiliated with his newest rival. Taker has come back from retirement so many times now, it's the contract equivalent of his sit-up spot when you think he's really tired. But weirdly, this year hasn't seen a single hint or tease for the dead man appearing at WWE's second biggest show of the year after Fastlane, WrestleMania. Not even a weirdly desperate John Cena. There are reportedly no plans backstage for Taker to feature at WrestleMania 35, making it the first time he hasn't appeared on the annual show since WrestleMania 2000. It seems the dead man is finally actually retired, set for a sweet epilogue of kayfabe-destroying Twitter posts and convention signings. There's just one little problem for that happy ever after ending though. One of those bookings is for AEW's sister convention, Starrcast II. The Undertaker has been announced to appear here for the event on Saturday 25th of May in Las Vegas, on the same day and in the same city as All Elite Wrestling's next big show, Double or Nothing. While the two are affiliated with each other, the events are actually run by different companies. AEW is run by The Elite and Tony Khan, while StarCast was founded by Something to Wrestle With host Conrad Thompson. Try telling that to Vince though. The guy can't even deal with these wrestlers having second names. Dave Meltzer is reporting that McMahon is under the impression StarCast and AEW are directly related, and there's definite unhappiness that The Undertaker will feature for one of them. The ratings, Raw being stale, AEW and The Undertaker supposedly all led to Vince wanting to change up WWE. Unfortunately, nobody told Triple H. Vince reportedly arrived at Raw between 1 and 2 p.m. on Monday, where the script had to be rewritten because Seth wasn't cleared. Some of these were relatively minor changes in the grand scheme of things. Ronda Rousey was originally booked to face Alexa Bliss in a squash match, for instance, but that was changed to an Elimination Chamber rematch with Ruby Riott to have a longer main event, which still doesn't make any sense. Others, though, were significantly larger, like the 4 huge NXT call-ups. Vince apparently decided last week he wanted great wrestlers on Raw now, and asked for the best 4 guys from NXT to freshen up the main roster. McMahon notably doesn't watch the NXT product though, so he was told by someone the top 4 were Ricochet, Black, Gargano and Ciampa. Crucially though, this advice did not come from Triple H, who because of bad communication was reportedly unaware of these plans, which would effectively gut the main event scene of NXT and undermine years of careful, subtle storytelling in their epic Ciampa-Gargano feud. He did manage to get one change made though. Ricochet was originally booked to face Finn Balor in a singles match for his debut. Presumably trying to make chicken salad out of chicken poo-poo, Hunter rebooked Ricochet to tag with Balor against Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, as he didn't want Ricochet going up against a babyface in his debut, which although would undoubtedly be a great match, could possibly dull the crowd. Bullet dodge there! And he didn't want either guy to lose, with it being Ricochet's first time on the main roster and Finn having just won the Intercontinental title. The change is also speculated to be why Rush and Lashley were suddenly a team again with no explanation, despite Bobby beating up Lio just 24 hours earlier. The rewrites were so frantic and substantial, the actual script wasn't finished until 30 minutes into the show being on air, with changes still being made an hour and a half after Raw started. But with these seismic shifts across all of WWE's brands, what does the company have in store for their new main roster stars for the future? The plan moving forward, providing it hasn't changed again several times by the time I finish this sentence, is for the NXT call-ups to perform on all 3 brands, Raw, SmackDown and still NXT, with them being put over like crazy. Ciampa hinted that no matter what brand he appears on, he'll still be representing developmental. Almost exactly 1 year ago we went to war at TakeOver New Orleans. It's been a long journey, but I knew eventually he would see the light. We are DIY, we are NXT. Problem is, that makes no sense when you've got different characters and storylines now existing within the same continuity, conditioning viewers to not invest in anything because nothing is consistent between the shows. As despite being a babyface tag team on the main roster, Tommaso Ciampa is actually arguably the most evil heel in the business. Here he is squaring off to a grandma in NXT, and he's still engaged in a vicious blood feud with his frenemy tag partner Johnny, who's also kind of a heel. It's complicated. With Ciampa and Gargano now behaving as though none of the last 3 years have happened on the main roster, many have questioned how NXT will handle the situation in their weekly TV. And going by the most recent set of TV tapings, it's by carrying on as though everything is fine. These next stories are for episodes of NXT that have not yet aired. So spoilers incoming in 3, 2, CM Punk returned. Just kidding. 1. First up is that Gargano is no longer the North American champion, and technically hasn't been for the last 3 weeks. On February 1st, NXT taped 2 endings for Gargano's title defense against the Velveteen Dream. A smart way to keep fans guessing which result they'd use when it airs on TV a few weeks later. That episode was last night, and it saw Dream capture his first championship in a terrific 20-minute main event. Crucially, Johnny had turned down Ciampa's offer to be in his corner for the match earlier that night. Because, remember, they don't like each other when they're not on the main roster! It seems Gargano, thinking he needs Ciampa, will spin off into them forming a heel DIY in NXT. You know, the DIY team that already exists as babyfaces on Raw and SmackDown. As in the latest set of NXT tapings, the two reached the semi-finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament to be knocked out by their main roster buddies Ricochet and Black. What's going on? After the match, Gargano was helped up the ramp by Ciampa and his wife Candice LeRae. When Tommaso tried to turn on Johnny by throwing him into the Titantron, Gargano reversed the move though, throwing Ciampa into the steel structure instead. A piece of poetic symmetry to how Tommaso initially betrayed Johnny all those years ago. Gargano then posed with Candice at the top of the ramp, seemingly setting up an NXT Championship match between them at the WrestleMania Weekend Takeover, which makes total sense with everything that's happening on Raw and SmackDown right now. Which WWE star has tried to quit the company? Click the video on the right now to find out. And thank you to all our amazing pledge hammers on Patreon who are scrolling beneath me and into my stomach. Yes, feed me, Patreons. Feed me with your support. I will only grow stronger. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling!